Okay. Another part I want us to look at is the determination of related budget. Budget is critical. And let me share this with you. Our CEOs, our directors, they are only, the language they like is finance. Finance. If you go and speak HR, they don't pay attention much. You go and our performance management, we are doing this, we are our succession planning, they don't listen. They are always looking at the budget. And so when you finish your plan, this is a major one, you try to do a realistic budget. But again, this one will be supported by finance. So that must be there so that you will know, and it must be approved. Budget is always approved. It must be approved so that you know that, oh, department can implement or HR can champion it. Okay. So the budget determines the level of people costs. For example, recruitment and training, the cost, because you have planned it. And planning is not doing better. Planning is determining what to be done. And so you are determining that with this plan, we need to spend so much. And so much goes to training, so much goes into recruitment and all that. Then the budget provides guidance for approval and implementation. Because when you go to your boss, most of the time, they are asking you, why are we spending this? You need to fall back on your budget for you to explain issues. But sometimes it is more of finance role. Finance people will just explain to you, especially when it's a holistic workforce plan. Okay, that everybody is involved, and sometimes department will give you their budget. You are only collating and putting them together, or finance may put it together and go and ask for approval. But the HR will be there to at least give some meanings to things. Okay. So don't forget about the budget. Other than that, they will throw your plan away. Okay. It is to ensure that financial resource for workforce plan is ready to. So if you have the finances for the plan, then it means the plan can be implemented. Because mind you, when you do your gap analysis, and you realize that you need 4 accountants in finance, and they must all be professionals. And then you see the HR, even though you think HR, there are many, looking at the new objectives, you need one more person to come in. In that case, definitely you need, if you are going to implement them, you need to prove that you have your budget, and that will work for you. I am giving you some component of workforce planning. They are about the things we have talked about, and you would definitely, I'm just making it simple, summarizing it for you. Establishing a plan to deal with gaps. You finish your gaps. You have done all the analysis. So what do I do? So, and this you can put it in an Excel sheet or whatever. Existing roles. So you list all your existing roles. Then required roles in the future. Then you also indicate your future roles. And then give your gaps, role gaps, indicate the roles that are not there. Then indicate your core competencies levels required for roles and positions. The gaps you have indicate the core competencies and levels required for the roles and positions. Indicate learning and development projections. So it means when they come, these are the training programs you give them. List it, and then total new manning level. So you give your total new manning level. These components are critical in your plan. Once you have them, my brother, my sister, you will not have any problem. You will cover everything, and that will help you. You will also add recruitment projections. I said training projections. You add recruitment projections, internal and external. Financial resources needed to execute the plan, and start and completion dates with responsibility champions. So when you have this, these are components. When you have it in your plan, my sister, my brother, you are finished. And then you follow it up and make sure you compose them. Okay. Questions, comments before we move on? I have done some template for you, which of course I want you to fill in, add other columns if you want. If you want to establish a plan to deal with the gaps, you need to project it, put it in a form that everybody will accept. 1, existing roles must be indicated. Existing roles must be indicated. These are there. When you come to finance, the roles in finance are these. When you come to HR, roles in HR are these. When you come to marketing, it's like this. So existing roles must be indicated. Then the next column, you may want to look at required roles in the future. When you look at finance, what will be the required roles? These are there. The existing ones are there. The required roles will be the next column and indicate it. Then the next column, you look at role gaps. Now I know what is there now. I know what our new strategy focus is requiring. Let me subtract that one from the existing one, or let me review and see which ones are not in the existing one, and they become your role gaps. Then you indicate core competencies and levels required for roles and positions. So the roles and positions, the new ones you are getting, what are the core competencies they need? You also do it in a column. Learning and development projections. That is the training we do. The learning calls for more than training. So other things that you think will help them, you also indicate it. Then you have your total new manning level. You indicate that my total manning level is this. From this, you know your total manning level. Okay. That you are going to have. New manning level. Okay. Because you have seen a gap. The gaps you'll add the gaps to your existing one, and that will give you your new manning level. Then recruitment projections. You may want to look at, so with these gaps, am I going to bring in people, or it's internal? You may get internal people. People are loafering around, overstaffing somewhere. Can they come and do work in finance? You say no, they can't. Except where if your company is manufacturing, then they are in production area. You can't get more to come and do. So you go external, bring people in. So your projection will say that 4 finance people from outside, 2 HR people from internal, that you indicate that in your column. Financial resources needed to execute the plan. That is the budget that you do. And you say that we need globally we need 170,000 USD or Ghana cedis. And then you start and completion date. When are we going to start the whole program I have put together? And when are we going to complete? We are starting in October and end in the coming year. That's where we would implement the plan. And so we will end in first week in January. So you have 3 months to finish it, to push it onto the department or to the organization to plan. The plan is there. Let's follow it. It's a map. Let's follow it. And we are going to start following it this date. This is a template. Yes, I did for you. You can change it. You can add columns and all that. So existing roles, required roles, role gaps. So new manning level, you add the gaps. You add it to the existing one, and you get your new manning level. Competency gaps that you have found in the people indicate the competencies and the levels. Recruitment projections, it means I have to do external projection. So external recruitment, 4. Internal, 5. And we are going to shift them. Maybe internal, you are going to bring people from HR into business or into service. And HR people try to go out and do other jobs. Don't stay in HR forever. When you have opportunity, go and do maybe 2 years and come back. It enriches your value and you can be a good person because HR people think that we are so specialized, and when it comes to MD roles, they don't want to give us. They don't want to give us. But if you go and do the business, if you go and do things in the service, something different from HR, and you come then they say, oh, he's solid, he knows the business, oh, he knows the service, oh, and that will come after 10 years, after 5 years in the organization. And so the opportunity comes, you go, you write, they say, but what's your profile? Oh, he did this, he worked in Kumasi, he worked in Bolga, but he started as an HR person. But when he went to Bolga, he did customer service, or he did, programs, or project, and before he came, and he left HR for 2 years to go and do all this. And so somebody who has done projects in the organization has good knowledge in that. Then he can be considered. But when you go as a mono person, HR only, but the business is, you're always at the office. So they will tell you, my sister, wait. You can be a HR head later, and that's it. So it's sometimes good to have HR people doing some other job or pushing them when there's surplus. Clamor for it, and that helps. Indicate your L&D projections, the kind of trainings you are going to do. Align that one with the budget, that it will cost us this, it will cost us do that. Then completion date, indicate that. You may want to add something else, just to make sure, because you have different organizations and department. So this can be used for the whole organization, and at the same time for departments. And departments can maybe add 1 or 2 things or leave it the way it is to make some meaning to you. Okay. Good. Any questions on the templates? Esther, are you okay? Frances, are you okay? Eugene. Okay. What I'm saying is that when you have determined your existing roles, you know it, and then required roles going forward in the next 3 years, 1 year, whatever, you have that one. Then subtract the existing role from the required rules, and that will give you your gap. Okay? Now, new manning level will be your gap plus the existing role. That makes you your new manning level. Okay, thank you very much. We are moving on. Then you will do communication of the workforce plan. So important. Communication. It's a big component I want us to look at. If you fail to do communication, you won't achieve anything. They will kick against whatever you have put together for them. So always make sure you involve the department heads, you involve people. Don't do it in your office. Just involve them. And then when you finish, communicate. So the approved workforce plan needs to be communicated to all levels of management. Even though they were involved, they gave their various departments and they are okay. When it has been approved by management, top management, it must be communicated nicely to them in an email, at a workshop, whatever, depending upon your organization, to them. The human resource head must report on the plan on a regular basis to the executive team. It's also part of the communication. HR must tell the executive team what the plan is being used for. Are people okay with it? Have you seen that they are working on it? And all that. The HR must do that. Refer any request for changes to the approval authorities. If there is any change from a department or from anywhere, you need to send it to your top people for approval after you have even finished with your program. Monitor trends, data performance, and proactively follow up issues. Okay, so when your plan has gone out and you have given it to people, you may want to monitor. It doesn't end there. People must use it. People must believe in it. So just monitor the trends. Are they really working on it? Are they accepting it? And all that. Follow. That is very, very important. And then you know that your plan is a workable plan. It should not be just a plan and forget about it. Just monitor and see. Now, roles and responsibilities. HR function, this is yours. You are going to champion. You are not, you see, all the things we have talked about, it's not only HR that will do it. With your good relationship and with your good network in the organization, you will champion it. So champion the workforce plan development in department for short, medium, and long-term projections. And so you talk to them. You have given them your template. Please let me know and pick it. Consolidate workforce plans from divisions. Department is a function for HR. You consolidate all what you have picked from the people. Develop budgets for implementing workforce plan, and that also comes from HR. You are just, when I say developer, you are not going to do, you just coordinate. Seek management review and approval of the things you have put together. And they implement workforce plans, redeployment, recruitment, L&D, that's all. The implementation does not come into the plan so much, please. But at a point, they may want you to help with the implementation. But implementation is not part of the plan. All you need is to get the plans together, get approval, communicate to your people, and that's it. But when it comes to implementation, then you follow up and make sure. Roles and responsibilities for heads and divisions. Heads of department divisions. Provide workforce data from their divisions, department. All heads must provide data for you as HR. But when you give them the right template, it's easier. It comes to you and you just call it. Those of you who have softwares, HR software, you can put them in. Those of you who have knowledge in Excel, you can also do it that way. Collaborate with the HRM function, that is the department heads, to develop the workforce plans. They have to collaborate with you, and then you move on. Good. Is it okay? Okay, let's move on to management function. For them, top management approve workforce planning strategy. That's all. And that's what you do to them, the format and all that. And then supervise the implementation of the workforce plan. That is what management will do. They have to supervise it and book. Esther?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to bring to your attention that you're a slide ahead of us. So we are in heads of divisions, but you're talking about something else.
Oh, okay. Is there any problem? Heads of divisions. Okay, I'm moving to the next management function. Have you seen that?
Yes, we are there.
Okay. Sorry. So we want management to do to give us the approval for workforce planning strategy, and HR will have to make sure it's done, and then management will also supervise the implementation of the workforce plan, because at your meetings, strategic meetings, at morning meetings, executive meetings, they will question and ask about the process, and HR most of the time will have to guide heads of department to answer the way it should be answered. We are continuing with succession planning, management, and framework. I told you that one of our objectives is to make you understand that workforce planning dovetails into succession planning. If you plan well, you will be able to identify good people to be in the succession planning pool to succeed in the future. Okay, succeed critical roles in the future. Succession planning is for succession of critical roles. Those roles, if they are not there, the organization may collapse. Succession planning, I'm talking about maintaining a developed pool of talents that can be used at any time to provide smooth and effective continuity in leadership and management roles within the business. This is my simple definition. Can we move on? Okay. Levels of planning. I know you are coming in with from different organizations. But whatever it is, for every scale of business, you need to have board level succession planning. And so I will explain what I mean by that. Then group executive level. Those of you who have a group of companies or countries together, you need to have group executive level succession planning. Then those who have just one company, operating with one company, corporate company executive and management level succession plan. And it relates to SMEs and enterprises, large enterprises, but they don't have groups. They just stand on their own, and that's it. But in some organizations, they are in a form of a group, like enterprise insurance, like not Zoomline, but they have just one group of companies, like Glyco companies, like EcoBank and Standard Chartered Bank. They are group. They are group, and so you need to have a executive level, group executive level for them. Then we have departmental levels. For B and C, you have departmental level planning for them. And I will explain them so you would understand what I'm saying. Succession planning is very, very critical and sensitive in organizations. And we need to do it right and get the right people in there. No nepotism, no old school kind of thing. And because of that, we suggest that you find a committee, you form a committee, succession planning committee, to deal with it. It shouldn't be one person. It shouldn't be the HR head managing succession planning, or it shouldn't be maybe the CEO only doing that. But a committee must be put together. And there can be 3 or more succession planning committees at the levels of planning. 1, board level committee. And at the board level committee, you would have at the board, we have subcommittees. So there's a HR board subcommittee. They can manage succession planning at the board level. And at the board level, the succession they look at will be the CEOs, the executives that are on the board, but they are executives. They may be finance director is on the board. The CEO is on the board. Maybe marketing manager, treasury, whatever. They are on the board. And they are to be looked at the board level. They may only restrict themselves to just the CEO and leave the other executives, other directors down there for the CEO to deal with that. And so the board subcommittee will then work on the succession planning. I will let you know the roles and all that. So group level committee. This, we are talking about companies that are having organizations having several groups, several companies under them, as I mentioned. Jospon, EcoBank, Enterprise, Glyco, and many other companies that are grouped. Okay. Then we have corporate executive and management level committee. And so that goes for just one organization. And they stand on their own. They don't have group company. They don't have other companies under them. So that is that. Departmental level committee. And the departmental level committee runs through all the organizations. It could be the group level committee, it could be the corporate organization, or it could be, it could be a corporate level organization. If you don't form committee for succession planning, you may have challenges and problems. And so you need to form that. Questions, comment before I move on to the next level? Or let me explain the board system let me explain the committee system so that you get a bigger picture. Okay. Now, at board level, committee membership, the MD may be there, directors of the HR board subcommittee may be there, HR head as a secretary to coordinate that. But we will know that the MD, because the board level committee will find a successor for MD and will also find successors for directors if they are there. The MD, when a decision is being taken about the MD will not be there at that meeting. Any other director who is on the board may not be on the committee, but will be dealt with by the board subcommittee. As for the board subcommittee, they are mostly non-executive people, directors on the board. They don't work for the organization. Then HR head will help as a secretary to the committee, the board level committee of succession planning. Okay. And that is very, very limited. That is very high level. So HR will just provide information for the MD. MD will give it to the board directors, and that's it. Group level, where we have enterprise and we have Jospon and all that. Membership, group CEO, group executives, executive directors, CEOs of the group subsidiaries or companies could be members, and then group HR head will be a secretary to them. In fact, in some organizations, they will just leave out, it will be only the group executive directors, or the group CEO who will form the committee, and then the group executive director who will be forming and HR who will be forming the committee, because they are going to look for successors for CEOs of the group of subsidiaries. So they cannot be on the board, on the committee. Okay, they can only supply information. Some organizations will do it that way. Others will let them be there for discussion because they know their success. They know people who should succeed them. And so you can vary it depending upon your organization. But standard composition is what I am giving. Then corporate executives management, maybe one company. That one, the members will be MD or CEO, or sometimes the CEO will just disengage himself but approve whatever the executive directors will bring. Okay. And then you also add departmental or division levels. They will be part of the succession plan committee. And they will bring the names, they will bring the profile of the people But at the same time, they will also be there discussing, because they will have to give input to the committee to be able to do that and agree on that. Any questions for the composition before we move on? Now, let's look at the responsibilities of the committees of all levels. Whether you are at the group level, the committee is the group one, or the board one, the group one, or the corporate one, the responsibilities are the same. For example, key positions will be determined by the committee members. We may not give successors to all the roles. You may decide to say that from management level going, we need to determine successors. Officer level, let's leave it out. For people to struggle down there, to come, to be noticed to succeed in the management level. And so key positions will be determined by the committee members. For us to find people to succeed those in that position. The committees will determine core and technical competencies, and levels for the key positions will be determined by the committee. For all positions that we have determined, and we are saying that these positions, we need to line up successors for those positions. Also, the committee will have to decide on the core and technical competencies and the levels of competencies for all those successors who will be succeeding in the positions. Develop a list and keep a pool of talents for growth and development. So the committee will also develop a list and keep a pool of talents for growth and development. And I'm asking how. These will come from department. This will come from executives. They will bring out the people. And most of the time, you will want to look at your performance trends and know that there are some people who are doing so well and they can be part of the succession pool. And so their divisional heads will bring them, or department heads will bring them to the board. The committee shall agree learning and development plans for developing the successors on the critical tasks and skills required for the future roles. These shall have timelines for implementation. So one other critical responsibility of all the committees will be determining learning and development plans for the successors you have determined, you have listed. The fifth responsibility will be develop cross-functional plans for successors according to their competency gaps and career interests. When you come under or on the succession or in the succession pool, you must do cross-functional jobs. So once you are there, they can ask you to go and do some job in other areas. And sometimes it may be somebody a senior person going on leave and for 2 weeks, and they can ask the finance person to take over. And but it's a HR role. Why is the finance person in there? You will ask. The top management have their plan that he must go and have or brush. He must go and have a brush with HR, because we are thinking of him being executive director for general manager or whatever role or something. And if you are being groomed for general manager role, you must be going to other department. And so just do 2 weeks. Cross-functional. Go treasury, go do marketing, go do... you are there, you are not going to do the technical job. You are just there to go and head or something. So you become all round. Okay. Implement training and cross-functional plans year by year. So the committee will make sure that the training plans for all the people, the successors, are implemented. It's so important. So the role of the committees are so critical. They must meet quarterly or as necessary to review succession planning issues. and make changes in the list of talents. When you develop your talent pool, it's not sacrosanct. It's not cast in stone. You can pull off people and you can add. And so every quarter you meet and review their performance, the profile of the people, the performance of the people, their behavior. Are they going by our values? It's critical. And then you take off people and bring in others. So when you find yourself in the succession pool, it's not forever. You can be pulled off within the year by your performance, by your attitude, and all that. And when you do that, then you see people wanting to perform all the time, wanting to do well, and moving on. And these will be done by the heads of department or by the directors or whatever at their meetings. And when you say this person must go off, then it means you have to give proof. Why is it that he should go off? Why is it that we should bring in a new person? So at that meeting, it's a serious meeting, and you argue, take up people, bring in people, take up people, bring in people, depending upon what they are doing. Line managers, those who will bring you the people, maybe middle managers who are the businesses, and line managers own and drive the succession planning process by providing inputs for the work of the succession planning committees. So they will give all that. And then they will also identify talents for the talent pool and also develop talent to feed into the talent pool. So line managers are on the ground, they are always with the people, they see them, they talk to them and all that. So bring them into the pool so that we can train them to be able to succeed key people in the key roles as we have. Okay, any questions, comments before we move on to the next level? Franca.
Good morning. I've been following so far. I'm wondering, when you have identified the people into the pool, is it okay to specifically let them know, who they'll be succeeding, or you keep it from them? So sometimes when you let them know, I want to know whether you have to specifically let them know that you are going to succeed A or B or C.
B.
And then
Yes.
how many successes can you have in a particular, situation, a particular time? Can you have 2 successes or 3 successes?
Okay. We'll get to that question very soon. But let me explain the sensitivity question you asked. Very, very sensitive. Do you tell them that, you're going to succeed this, or you are in line to succeed this role or position or whatever? No. All depends. But I think it's advisable just to let them know that they are people, high performers, that you are paying attention to them and all that. At their performance appraisal discussion, you can let them know that, look, you are doing well, you are coming up, you are critical in the business, and keep going. Let them know that, yes, they are good. But don't say that you are in line to succeed the head of department, or you are in line to succeed this, that. That one, sometimes it creates problem. The person may be swollen-headed and may be crashing. So once we do this systematically, and every quarter or once or twice in a year, you do that, the committee will meet, discuss it extensively, because it's a sensitive thing. And we need to do it so that we don't create problem for the organization. Okay? And so have maybe twice a year, 4 times in a year may be a problem because you don't have time that much. But twice in a year you can do it. Once one in June, another in December or whatever, or one in January, another in June. Okay? And then the most important thing is make sure all the people in there are still performing consistently and showing you that they believe in the values of the organization and they can lead in the organization. And so you need to really, and if anybody says somebody should go off, he must prove with performance data, with other things, disciplinary actions and all that, records and all that, so that you can all agree and say that yes, he must go. If you are bringing in a new person, you must also prove in there that, oh, this one, yeah, very down there, but doing so well. And so we need to consider such a person in the pool and develop the person. Now, responsibilities of the HR function. The human resource function provides best practice and technical input for the work of the committees at all levels. It means the HR person must be very good. You should be an expert in succession planning, and then help the people, help your committees at meetings. You allow them to argue or talk, but you provide professional touch to the argument, and they will all pay attention to you all the time. When they say that, yes, HR, what do you say? And then you provide. So learn more and be a very useful, value-adding individual on the committee. The HR head may serve as a member or just a secretary at the committee meetings. Most of the time, you know the records of people, you know everybody. And so you must be in all the committees, but you can be there to serve as a secretary or as a member. That's it. Or will be determined by management. But you must be in the committee by all means. You can be there as a member secretary or as only secretary. And in that case, you won't argue, but that's not good. So you must be there as a member secretary if you want to play the role of a secretary. And then the secretary role must be played by HR by all means. If you allow any other staff to play that role, you'll be in trouble. They will take the data out and go and show it. So HR must, because you are a custodian of every secrecy in the organization. So it's important for you to keep it. And sometimes when you finish, the data, if it's hard copy, don't give it to somebody to go and shred it. You should go and shred it. Or all your information must be in a soft copy, so you don't come out with any document. It will fall somewhere and somebody will go and look at it and you'll be in trouble. Okay? And sometimes when you are even printing, you may have the printer being faulty, and so and it will not come out. And you might think that, you haven't printed or nothing has come out. If you leave it, when the printer is okay, it will come out, and that will be a problem for you. Each position may have more than one successor, at least 3. Frances asked that question, so for the positions, how many people do we have to identify to succeed? Okay. Okay. And so for each position, you may have not less than 3 positions, immediate people. And for the immediate, it may not be only one person, immediate person to succeed a position. For example, maybe, let's say, program manager or program manager role. Okay, so immediate successors, even though we are saying that you need to have just 1 being an immediate successor, 2 being intermediate, and 3 being long-term. At the immediate level, you may have, maybe 3 people or 2, depending upon the availability of the people in the organization. So immediate, you may have 3 people or 1 or 2. Short term, you may have 1 or 2 or 3. Third, which is the long term, which will be long, maybe 10 years down the line, you may also have 3 or whatever. So it may not be only 1 person, but you may have maybe 2, 3 people for immediate, and the immediate indicates readiness of each successor in a pool, immediate, short term, long term. But you need to, for every role, you need to have immediate successor, short term successor, and long term successor for each. But I'm saying that for immediate, it may not be only one person. It may be two successors. It may be whatever. For short term, it may be two successors, three. For long term, it may be 1, 2, 3. So you have them there. So the line manager, in conjunction with HR, will nominate staff into succession pool using performance history and potentials as a guide to ensure transparency and fairness in the process. So every organization want to create performance culture, want to develop performance culture in the organization. So you will use their performance levels to select them and their potentialities to select them, so that you don't just call your brother, your sister, into the pool, but you have a data indicating that he's been consistent with performance and he's been excellent for 3 years. So we cannot just leave such a person out. He must be in the pool. Okay. And then you could also say that, he has the potentiality to do, or the potentials to do so much. Anytime you give this boy a job, whether it's in his area or not, the execution is perfect. And that has been even taken note of in his performance appraisal process and all that. And that must be something that you need to work on or consider. Okay. Now, we need to have profile of successes. Profile. If you have all your successes, you need to have profile of them. And their names must be there. Current grade must be there. Age must be there. The person, maybe the people they are going to succeed, or whoever is in the new position, the incumbent is 57 years, 55 years. And you say a successor is 58 years. That doesn't really go. Successor should be less than the age of the individual in the incumbent. Okay? So that must be clear. Other than that, the performance will retire, the successor will retire before the incumbent. And that will not help us. So date of joining the company, you must indicate that. Current job position, you must indicate for everybody in the pool. Years of working experience, both in and outside the company, it must be there. Highest academic or professional qualification, it must also be there. You may even want to add more. Positions held in and outside the company, it must also be part of the profile of the individual. Areas of competence, core competence and technical competencies that you have noticed about the person must also be indicated for each of the people in the pool. Training and development needs of each person must also be worked out. Performance rating over the past 3 years must also be indicated. For you, maybe your organization, the best person is rated as 1. And so for consistently for 3 years, he's been getting 1. That must be there. Okay. The list must be reviewed and updated at least twice a year. And that, I'm talking about the list of them, and then their profile must also be looked at. And when you have such profile, it's easier to argue. It's easier to talk about them. And it's also easier to train them. Very good. Any questions, comment on the profile? Esther, yes?
So if you look at the first bullet on the current slide, it says position held in and outside the company. So do you mean outside the company historically, or you'd be interested in other roles that somebody is holding elsewhere, for example?
Yeah, you are looking at historically. That outside the organization, before he joined, because he has a CV, before he joined, you know what he has done. So that must also be taken into consideration. Okay? Before he joined, senior roles he has occupied. That must also be listed to be added to the profile of the individual. So we know the person is solid. He's done it before, but not in the organization, but elsewhere. Okay, good. Yeah, patience.
Yes, sir. Please, the profile of successes. Are we going to design it a template or the way you've done it on the screen?
Oh yeah, yeah, no. You can do it in a different way. Just capture the information. That's all. You can rearrange, you can add, and all that, depending upon the committee's work, how they will want it. Is that okay? But yeah, but these components must be there. Okay, so that it will help you, guide you, and you can do it in any way you want to present it in any way you want. You may even add or.
Okay, if I will take you back, please, I need a recap on the previous one and the slides just for some few minutes for me.
I'm saying that for all the people you have identified in the pool, all the people you have identified, keep a list, keep a profile dossier on them, and indicate their name, indicate their current grade. This can be done on probably on a Excel sheet or whichever way you want to do it. So the name of the person, or you can do it one. The name of the person, his current grade, indicate it, indicate his age, indicate date of joining the company. He joined maybe 3 years ago, or date maybe July 2023 or whatever. Current job position, currently what is he doing, indicated. Years of working experience, both in and outside the company. Working experience, because you want to add that one to whatever he's come to acquire in your organization. So you know that he's a solid individual. Then highest academic or professional qualification must also be indicated. For each person, this must be done for him. Positions held in and outside the company, because he came in as a treasurer, he came in as a marketer, but in the previous organization, he was a finance director, he was an auditor, he was this, he has done all that. That should help you to know the real profile of the individual and know that, hey, but he came in here as a treasurer or as an auditor, but he has done so much as a finance, even director or finance person in another company. Areas of competence. Looking at him, and we as a we have our competencies. So when it comes to core competencies, 9 of them, this person, is he competent in professionalism? Is he competent in communication? Is he competent in networking? Is he competent in teamwork or whatever? So you may also indicate that for the individual. Areas of competence. Yeah, when it comes to communication, fantastic. It's level 1, level 2, level 3. And then technical competencies or technical competencies. When it comes to his main area, department, the technical competencies there is also good or not good. You indicate that. Training and development needs. Once you have seen the competencies of the person, you would be able to know the training needs of the individual, the gaps he has. And then performance rating over the past 3 years, you must indicate all the rating to guide the committee to be able to argue or to be able to talk about the individual. Okay. So that is that. Patience, are you okay?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm saying that this profile, the list, when you review the list and also review the profile as you move on, twice in a year or so, whatever, depending upon you. Good. Let me give a framework or a schedule of a typical succession planning. For example, you need to indicate position, say production manager or program manager or project manager, whatever. The incumbent is Joseph Kum. So Joseph Kum is the incumbent. And then age of coach, the age is 53. He is currently doing the job. He's in the role, production manager role. Then successors, you may want to say that one means when Joseph probably resigns today or retires today or pass on today, Peter will be the immediate successor. And that is the I gave. Immediate successor. But I'm saying that you may not only use Peter, you may also write other names. Martha, Nkoma, or whatever. You can write, give 3 immediate successors. So that when Joseph goes on leave, either one of them, Peter, can go and succeed, act, or Martha can go and act, or Martin can go and act, if you have 3 people there. So you have a pool to pull from. That you can do. I think patients, you ask that question. So you can do that. Then grade. What's the grade of the person who is going to be an immediate successor? You need to indicate that one. Age of the immediate successor, maybe 46. Incumbent is 54, 53. Immediate successor is 46. That works well. Is that not it? He's not more than, he's not 60, he's not 57, he's 46. So it sits well. What is the position of the immediate successor? He may be a production officer, not manager, please. I think I've copied, it's said to. So, or he may be an accountant, senior accountant in there. Current performance rating, you indicate, is the rating for this man is 2. You can make some remarks. Highly experienced, ready to succeed. Just that. And so you have a schedule that has been done there. So anytime the incumbent is not there, you know who to pick. Or the incumbent will even suggest that, in my absence, let us ask Martha to act for me. There are 3, and anyone can act. And so that Peter alone cannot say that, I've been acting all the time, so I'm likely to be the successor. Okay, confuse them. Other than that, so that's why you need to have, that's why Martha, Francis, I like your question, that you can have more of them to be immediate successors. Then short term, maybe in the next 5 years, next 3 years, those who you think can come. Because this man is 46, and the other of them are close to 50, close to 60. So immediate, short term can far is 37 years. And he's an operations officer. His performance has been one all the time. So you make a comment, brilliant and rounded, can succeed after attending all corporate management programs. So it's there. So HR will always make sure the person attends some programs. Okay? Here too, you can add more. It's not only who can be the short-term successor. If you have 2 of them, put it there. If you have 3, put them there. If you don't have and you have only 1, just keep that person there. Then long term will be somebody who is a young guy, just joined, or one of the senior officers or officers, but you could see that there's some fire in that person. In that case, you also indicate the age, you indicate the position, you indicate the performance rating that he has been having, and then make a comment, a promising star who have had exposure in key areas. Because he has had some exposure, even though he's young, but he's bubbling with some talents, and therefore he's been used in various areas. And he can, in the long run, in the next 10 years, in the next 8 years, he can succeed. And so we are training the person to succeed. But that's why we say he's a long-term successor, long-term. So in that case, in the organization, you have your short-term successors, you have your immediate successors, you have your short-term successors, you have your long-term successors. In that case, you focus your resources on them and train them and make them ready. They are in the pool, they are ready, and you move on. So a schedule like this will help you to maintain a very good or standard way of looking at the people and training them. And let me also say that your successes must not be in your department by all means. And the succession committee will determine that in finance, yes, but if you are in finance, you may want to use those with financial background to be there. So you can use some people. That's why I said cross-functional movement is good, so that an auditor can come to finance to succeed, or a treasurer will come and proceed and all that. But maybe HR, us, we are always